Hi, my name's Dee and welcome to Sunchild Tarot. Now these are your full moon general readings for the sign that's in the title below. As ever, bulk introduction, timestamp below, but listen to it just once through. Because I would advise that you listen to three of these. Your sun, obviously, your moon sign, because hey, it's a full moon, and your rising sign, as that's the most important to your story. So watch all three if you've got the time. Now, this is full moon in Virgo, 8 degrees of Virgo. So I'm not going to talk long about the astrology of this full moon, because if you follow the link to the Facebook page to this channel that's in the description below, you'll notice that I've posted a lot of the astrologers' analysis and breakdown and weather forecast videos about this full moon, and they're going to do it better than I do. Also, there's an inbox on that page, so if you want to contact me directly for a personal reading, there's a good way to do it. But this full moon, 8 degrees Virgo, so this moon is ruled by Hariel, the angel Hariel, who represents in astrology long-range vision and purification, which is, I find, a very, very interesting symbol. Because obviously this is all on the backdrop of Saturn square Uranus, the force for tradition and rules and endings, but tradition and rules against the new, the innovative, the chaos elements that Uranus will bring through. So Saturn is ruling this chart like it did on the new moon chart, and I talked about that back in the new moon videos. Now Saturn at 8 degrees Aquarius is now being ruled by Nelchael, who, interestingly, is an angel about eradicating plague and an ardent desire to learn. So it's almost like the Saturn energy is like, yeah, this may be the way we've always done it, and we've got to stay in the way that we've always done it, but we've also got to learn to do it better in these limitations because it's not working. As simple as that. It's not working. Now, as I say, Nelchael or Saturn is ruling this chart, so we're looking at eradicating plague, which you can't deny the symbolism of that one at the moment. But what is interesting is, out of the chart itself, the most talkative angels are Sahalia and then Cahatel. Now, let me just check because I didn't write it down. Sahalia is ruling both Venus and Lilith, and Cahatel is, Cahetel, sorry, I should say, is ruling Pluto and Chiron, like I think Cahetel has been doing for a while. Now, the conversations that are going on here is Sahalia represents letting go and mental force. So it's eyes on the prize. That's where we're headed, and all this other stuff is not necessary. Whereas Cahatel is all about diffusing negative energy. And as I say, those are the two most talkative angels in this chart, theoretically, all subservient to Nelchael in this chart. However, they are pretty much talking to all the planetary degrees, all the other angels at the moment. So it's almost like the king says one thing and the advisors are going, are you sure? Are you really, really sure? Do you not think there's a better way of doing it? What if you think about this way? What if you think about that way? But I think there's a better way of doing it. And they're going around the royal court and they are building up support, or they're acting like the chief whip of a political party, doing exactly the same, drumming up the support. Have I got your vote? So there's also this is directed, or the spotlight of this conversation is the moon, Hariel, long range vision and purification. That's the agenda that they are putting on the table in front of Nelchael or Saturn. And it's really interesting because the moon is quincunx, or I should say, as Rick Levine would say, quincunx Saturn. So Saturn doesn't really know what the moon's on about at all. You know, it's almost like, yeah, newfangled stuff, not my thing. Um, but it is necessary, and that's why we have the this influence of Sahalia with letting go, and then Kahatel just keeping everything calm, diffusing the negative energy. Yes, that's going to be awkward, but we can do it. And Sahalia, with their mental force, can go, hell yes, we can. Well, maybe not hell, they're an angel, but oh yes, we can do this. So there's, it's really highlighting an agenda shift. Now, the astrologers will also have mentioned it's good for relationships, this full moon. Again, go and watch all the astrology videos that I've posted. I'm seeing, looking at it from the degree angels level, this is, it's like that tagline, things will never be the same again. We are setting the agenda for the new world. We have a new world. I've not heard that phrase, the new normal, so much recently, but there's still a lot of political agenda to try and make the old normal return. But let's be honest, it's not going to happen. It is a new world. It's a new world every day. Oh, that, I'm sure that's a song. But it's a new world every day anyway, but it is very much a new world. And Saturn, in its square to Uranus, in its quincunx to the moon, is, I'm almost seeing, desperately trying to hold things together, which I think is quite, yeah, look at the news. Saturn is definitely trying to hold things together, and at some points it's succeeding, and at some points it's fading. But the counsel of the angels here is to try and just, let's make this process a bit easier. Now, what is interesting with Saturn as well is this, where have I written 8 degrees Aquarius? This is Spider-Man's Saturn. This is the Saturn on the first publication date when Spider-Man first hit the stands back in 1960 something, which I completely forget off the top of my head. But there is that message, with great power comes great responsibility. So Saturn is almost forced to accept that things have to change somewhere. And of course, Saturn is in Aquarius. It is looking more towards the future. It is looking to expand, to work with the community. Now, the symbols, after I'd figured all this out, I went and had a look at the various symbols for 8 degrees Virgo. And yeah, you'll have to forgive me. It's obvious I'm reading from the screen. So first we'll start with the inside degree, a man mixing cement. So we've got this image of, if you're mixing cement, you're building something, you're creating something. But the explanation of the image says jammed tight with concepts, thinking about what you are doing, interpretations, evaluations, opinions, and surmises, void of heart force, believing in progress, bent upon success. You strictly, rigidly carry out what the mind dictates. It goes a bit dark here. A form of ignorance that is very clever. Something missing in the soul. Compensations on top of compensations. Exceedingly busy, hyper with plans, projects, and enterprises. You're very good at achieving results. Riveted with to the phenomena, but prone to casting shadows that come back to haunt. So again, we see the reason for that influence of Cahatel, of the diffusing the negative energy, because everybody wants the world to return to normal really, really quickly. But that ain't going to happen, or at least the old normal ain't going to happen. But I love that, just that one image of the man mixing cement. This is the point where we start building. The new moon was, if I remember correctly, was all about finally integrating and starting to act on all the lessons that we've learned during the Capricorn cluster and 2020, which I think is very nearly ended. Well, or at least March 2020 has very nearly ended. Well, we may be in the 450th of March, but you know, we can see the turn of the page coming. Now, the Sabian symbol is equally as intriguing, and this one more encouraging. So the Sabian symbol is an expressionist painter at work. The interpretation saying about boldly breaking new ground. We must carve out our own path according to our own sense of who we are and what only we can do. Our right to be unique and our ability to express in this uniqueness creatively must be asserted. We must take it. It cannot be bestowed by a teacher. It is only the potential to be original that is a given in life. Originality itself must be assumed. Life is risky and we have to live with that. So again, there's that balance of, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and the fact that things need to change. Uranus is going, oh yeah, change, change, bring change. But again, Uranus, that's its natural spirit. In Taurus, that change is not really as fast. Some astrologers say that Uranus in Taurus, it's almost like it's, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. It's probably thinking about it wildly, but not going to do it. And then, bam, that's where the lightning strikes, because it just can't hold back anymore. Now, there is a thing called seed degrees and fulfillment degrees that I've learned from a blog, John Sandback, I think his name is. But for this full moon at 8 degrees Virgo, the where things come to a head for whatever is stated here or set into motion here. So stated as in a natal chart, or set into motion as in, you know, just the mundane transit chart. The fulfillment degree is 13 degrees Gemini. So I rather think that that is a point to be watching out for when other planets come to pass 13 degrees Gemini. The other interesting things that I noticed, Mercury, 13 degrees Aquarius. This is and of course I'm going to talk about comics and magic. This is the Mercury of Grant Morrison. Now, if you are familiar with Grant Morrison as a writer, superb writer, really likes to put layers upon layers upon layers of what it is that he's putting forward. You know, whether it's his signature series, The Invisibles, which went really deep into all sorts of woo-woo, or just his time on the Justice League of America, where it was like big concepts that would stick with you and you'd still be thinking about them several days later. Also, Israel Regadi of the Golden Dawn, this is his Chiron. So without diving into the details of Israel Regadi's life, there's that opening for disciplined magical healing is what I'm seeing from that, because that's how I'm assuming Chiron can be interpreted within Israel Regadi's chart, or at least taking it out of his chart and looking at it with the rest of the world. So these readings, they are same as ever, by sign. It's the gods that play reading. We look at the gods that are supporting you during this period, and we look at the more archontic forces, or the gods that aren't really gods. Their energies designed to suppress you and keep you away from your glorious destiny, soul function, soul purpose, yes, soul function, which will be on the top row of the reading. it is a look at the energies. You can ask a question like I'd normally ask you to within your monthlies, but I ain't going to guarantee that there will be an answer. And again, like any form of tarot scope, it's either it makes sense to you and or it doesn't. And if it doesn't make sense to you, then it's probably not for you. This is a YouTube reading. I am not sat with you face to face. So it's either going to confirm what you already know, stroke success, suspect, give or take the influence of confirmation bias, or it's not. And if it's not, then you can probably ignore it. Or maybe just think about it and then forget about it unless something occurs that makes you go, oh, yes, we know a song about that. So obviously, like, share, subscribe, join the Facebook page, because that way it's a one-stop shop for all the astrology videos as well as my videos. And like I say, you can contact me there. Subscribing to the channel really does help the channel. Liking helps the algorithm boost the video. I'm sure you know the YouTube politics by now, so if you're so inclined, please do help my YouTube politics, or Google politics, as Chris Witecki calls it. That's everything. I've waffled long enough. Let's crack on with the reading. Cheers. So firstly, my apologies, Sagittarius. You're looking at a photo right now. I'm afraid my mobile phone has stopped logging into Manycam, and therefore you don't get any live action images of me waving my hands over the cards. But as you can see, the gods that are supporting you during this lunar cycle, we have Athena with wisdom, Poseidon with flow, Eris with strife. That indicates some development's going to be happening. Nuit with expansiveness, and Oya with deliverance. And the masks that the archons are wearing to oppress you, suppress you, however you want to look at it. We have Orpheus with faith, Ganesha with obstacles, Artemis, the goddess of light, Aphrodite with self-love, and Nyx with respite. So it's almost as if obstacles are going to get put into your path, and you are told to have faith that you are going to get over them, and that you need to concentrate on the self-love aspect, that you know, how do you respect yourself? How do you, if you was to go ahead and do this, are you really thinking the best of yourself? Are you really treating yourself the right way? Why don't you have a rest? Why don't you have a self-care day? That's the myth. That's the illusion. It feels like it's a false faith that everything will work out for the better. That's not in line with the philosophy of the universe has your back. But I don't think I'm contradicting it. I'm talking about something very specific here. That when an obstacle is put in your way, it's illuminated to you. It's shown you see a solution where you go, oh, am I being kind to myself here? Maybe I should just have a rest and have faith that it's all going to sort out. No, because we have, going against that faith, we have Athena with wisdom. Use your brains. Basically, I mean, that's what Athena is saying. Use your brains, go to war if you have to. But only if you have to. Athena is a goddess of wisdom and war. But the other side, following straight on from that, we have Poseidon with flow. So there's obstacles, that's fine. You can go round them, or you can choose a different way. Either way, it is going to be a struggle. Eris. But if you remember, Eris points out where a system is broken, or where values are not being held true to, or where the weak points are. When she went to Paris's wedding and tossed that apple in, she basically highlighted the vanity of the three goddesses that then fought over it. Nuit here is saying, think bigger. Now, Nuit, Nyx, same person. But on both sides. But we're looking for darkness that is creative, not darkness that is restful. The restful darkness is a trap. right now. It's the expansive, pregnant with the force of creation, that instant, even though technically I know that is not a thing, but in the Big Bang model, that instant before the Big Bang. Since time started with the Big Bang, there is no before. But you know what I mean. That before God said, "Let there be light," that that pregnant pause, that pregnant absence, diving into that stress and that strife, and noticing where the weak points are, and using your wisdom to go, yeah, this isn't going to sort out on its own. I do have to take action. And whatever action I take, it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard, but I need to take some action. But you need to take action with the focus of doing something bigger is the way that I'm seeing it. So you're expanding, you're expanding the influence of something. Or even your own influence, because that's what I first thought of when I was, you are making something more comprehensive. You are having an awareness of these obstacles that are coming up for you and going, I will not only solve the problem with this obstacle, I will solve the problem of this obstacle ever coming up again. So the solution is not just for now, the solution is for every time this obstacle appears. Because we have... The reason I'm saying this is we have the angel of mercy as the angel overlooking the whole reading. Divine mercy gives me the grace to be tender and accepting. Now, the tender and accepting isn't, oh, there's an obstacle, let's stop, let's go into the rest period, let's just look after ourselves or myself and have faith that it's going to continue. The tender and accepting is, okay, I've got to deal with it. This is an obstacle, or we have to deal with it, because there is a plurality that I am feeling with these cards, but I can't quite isolate from where, apart from on the god row, that each of the 5 gods are really loud to me. That's the best way I can put it. They are very loud, very individual, whereas sometimes you can have a chorus on this bottom row. This time it's not a chorus, it's 5 voices, each putting their own 5 pentathlon. And I love the fact that it ends with Oya, with deliverance, but that shows that you have to put the work in. You have to meet something halfway. You have to deal with the obstacle, but accept the fact that that obstacle is there. And not just go la la la, not listening. So, clarifying Orpheus with faith, we have the Tower card. So, no, just hoping that things will get better ain't going to solve nothing. But the degree angels from the Oracle of Heaven and Hell, the Shem HaMepharash, we have Jeliel with love and wisdom, and Nemamiah with discernment. So there's a lot of thought going on here. Yes, because if you take the restful approach, Death card, clarifying Aphrodite here with the archontic mask that's pretending to be Aphrodite. We have it's indicating that your self-image will change. And since that's on the Archon row, that's if you carry on with that faith and everything comes tumbling down, your self-image will change, but probably not for the better. Because remember, the Archons want us to be miserable and vibrating in fear and separateness and blah, 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 blah. You've heard it all before. There is a choice coming. What you need to do is push forward. When the resistance is felt, that's where your attention needs to go. Not to just sit down and go, Yeah, don't know. Don't know what to do here. I'll have faith that it'll all sort out. It is definitely push forward. Um, because if you accept the obstacle as part of the landscape and then work your way around it that way, this is clarified here with Ten of Pentacles. You are on a firm base to move forward. Because I think an element with that faith is just hoping that the obstacle will eventually go away, and that's not going to happen. So we also have, from the Demon Tarot, we have Barbatos. Now, this card talks about getting in tune with the natural world. So, obviously, get in tune with the natural world. It's also, we need to remember that Barbatos was a member of the Order of Virtues. So, I would say, well, what is the most virtuous path forward here? And I think sitting and resting and having a self-care day ain't the most virtuous path forward here for you. It is dive in and tackle whatever these obstacles are. While not... These obstacles are part of the landscape. They can be integrated, even though they are placed there by the Archons, not a doubt about that. But they can be integrated into your efforts rather than hinder and prevent your efforts. So I think now all I'm going to be doing is saying the same thing over and over again. But I want to draw your attention to Nuit being clarified by the Ace of Wands. That make things bigger. You'll surge forward. Eris pointing out the weak spots, clarified by the Queen of Wands. So there's that. You find where the weak spots are, and you are coming up with solutions. You are coming up with ways of either solving the weak spot or changing direction so that weak spot is not occurring. So that is not ignoring the obstacle, it's moving around it, going with the flow. And there is a lot of moving around in my head if you think about Poseidon with flow. But the world is yours. The world, clarifying Athena here, the world is yours if you are taking an active thinking approach rather than just going, yeah, that's in the way. Let's come back again tomorrow and see if it's still in the way, and hopefully it won't be. And no, it will sort itself out. No, excuse me. You, you do need to take an active role this time, Sagittarius. So, I say this time like you haven't in the past. I've got no idea whether you have in the past, and nothing says here whether you have or not in the past. But this time you definitely do have to take the active role rather than just sitting back and waiting for the obstacle to hopefully vanish, because it's not going to. It's really, really not going to. Yeah, I think that's it. I'd love to say that it was something longer, Sagittarius, but no, that's a lot. Like I say, my apologies again. I know that you've just been looking at a photo, but hey ho, can't be helped. All right, cheers.